first, Ken, you had an interesting point you wanted to bring up as far as looking ahead and playing the Conn Smythe well ahead of time right now.
I did, and I was just looking up some prices right now for some stuff. So, like, we did this on the show yesterday, and we talked about teams that kind of made sense to win the Stanley Cup and who kind of fit historically, and we came up with the Rangers and the Avalanche, and I said I had bet both of them to win the Cup. One of them played really well last night, one of them played terribly, and I talked about like kind of why they make sense. And what I didn't really talk about in that segment, I wrote about it though, was also like that the Conn Smythe market is open, just like Stanley Cup's open, the Conn Smythe Trophy market is open too. So for people who don't know, that's the trophy that goes to essentially the MVP of the postseason, basically. Right. So it almost always goes to a player on the winning team. It sometimes has not, but most of the time it goes, I would say almost all the time, goes to a player on the winning team.
Which is why this is fascinating about doing this in the first round, because you have to take that into an account.
Right. So I think there's going to be like almost a 1-to-1 correlation, right? If you really like a team to win the Stanley Cup right now, then you're probably going to like some of their players to win the Conn Smythe. It's not like you're going to, I think the Rangers are going to win, but I want to bet Patrice Bergeron to win the Conn Smythe. Be like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Like, you like the Rangers to win the Cup. Why would you bet a Bruin to win Conn Smythe? It's just going to kind of be the teams that you like. But some of the prices, it's almost like, okay, if you like those teams, are there players who you feel like are like insanely likely to win the Conn Smythe? Like, some teams I think are really tough. I think the Bruins are like a really tough team if they're going to win the Cup in terms of who wins Conn Smythe. Like, they have 8 good players. And like in the postseason, like all of them could play well. Yeah, what were you going to say?
No, I was going to say, and Pasternak will be the first one that jumps to everybody's mind, especially since he got on the scoring sheet right away. But what does that mean, right? If Ullmark goes off and that's the reason he's the hot goalie, right? It's very dicey.
The defenseman, like what if McAvoy plays really well? Like, they got like a ton of talent on that team. Like, there's like 5 players probably where you could be like, okay, like maybe not the most, like, but like, okay, like, all right, like I could see it. And
makes sense.
And not like how about, and here's a question too: who do you think is more likely to win the Conn Smythe, Pasternak or Ullmark?
Pasternak. I do, because I think that Ullmark will not be the best goalie in the playoffs, and I think that when it comes to Boston, ultimately will come down to who leads them in scoring goals. If that, like, I don't think they're going to just necessarily ride because they have a hot goalie get there. They've been such a great team all year. It'll come down to their spice of a goal scorer.
So I totally agree. I would never bet Ullmark to win the Conn Smythe. I'm curious if it's like, if you like Boston, is it like ancillary goal scoring players or like defensemen? Because it's like, does it have to be Pasternak? Like, thinking about that.
No, because if McAvoy has freaking 20 assists in the playoffs, right? That matters, right?
Right, exactly. So I think they're like a tough team actually to bet. Like, even if you like them, it's almost like, well, just bet them to win the Stanley Cup if you really like them. We settle on the Rangers and the Avalanche. So the Avalanche, I bet McKinnon and Mikko Rantanen, like, who I think makes sense, like they're their 2 best players. Makar is actually their best player. He won the Conn Smythe last year. I'm kind of playing a little bit of voting bias where if he's not by far the best player in this postseason, that they'll give it to somebody else instead. Sort of like what happened with the Lightning, twice, basically. Right. Yeah. So we've had a bunch of answers, or a bunch of teams historically where like the answer has been that someone else wins if a player has already won the award for the same team. But the Rangers, I think, are much more interesting because they killed it last night. And this is a postseason award. It is a Stanley Cup Finals award, too. Like, you got to be really good in the Stanley Cup Finals. But it also is a little bit of postseason aggregate, like what you're doing. And Adam Fox killed it last night. He got off to an incredible start. Yeah.
Just, not to step on you, but for anybody who like is tuning into us because you don't watch the NHL all year and you're in for like you're here for the gambling part of it. The simplest way to talk about Adam Fox is he is the Eastern Conference's Cale Makar.
Yeah,
basically,
absolutely.
Like on the purpose, that's it. Best defenseman in the East, essentially.
Both players have won the Norris Trophy already. And they have both like. And Makar, this is like year 4 for him, like year 5. Like, he hadn't been in the league that long. He won the Calder, and then he won the Norris, basically, and then he won the Stanley Cup. Then he won the Conn Smythe. Yeah. And Fox is like kind of on that trajectory too. So it's so funny that you put it that way, because I think we could see this developing, basically, where he is the Eastern Conference Cale Makar. And if they win, and he has like, I'm not saying he's going to have 4 assists every game, but like, you talk about like putting a little distance between you and some of the other players on your team when we get to that point and evaluate this stuff. I mean, if he's even close to that, and his reputation is insane, which is the other part of what you're saying, like everyone thinks that he's like the Eastern Conference version of Kilm. I only bet a little bit on him before the playoffs. I bet more on Shesterkin than I did on him to win Conn Smythe. And Shesterkin could definitely still win. Like he's like the best goalie in the world. He
was great last night, right?
But Fox, like, his price is starting to drift. But I think he had such a good game last night. I don't know if it's drifted enough. And Shesterkin's more likely to win. BetMGM has 40. There's a little more than that on him to win Conn Smythe some other places. I think it's kind of like, look, if you bet the Rangers to win the Cup and you agree with me, or you bet the Rangers to win the Cup for some other reason and you think I'm an idiot. Just like, I think it's always like, it's like if you like an underdog, sprinkle on the money line. I think if you like a team to win the Cup, like you can work the problem a little bit here. And in a bunch of cases with some of these teams, maybe you come up with a couple guys where you're like, I think it's really likely to be one of these two players and not a third, fourth scorer, or not a goalie on a team that's really scoring dominant or something like that. Like you can work the problem. Like is Stuart Skinner winning the Conn Smythe for Edmonton or something like that, for example, like whatever the answer is. So, and that's a bad example because McDavid's so short priced, but like you get the idea. And I ended up with more Shesterkin when the playoffs started. And like, I kind of found some off market Fox. There's some 45s. There's a little bit better out there. Like this guy is like absolutely can win. Played awesome in game one, plays for the team that I've already bet to win the Stanley Cup. Price hasn't drifted a ton. There was 175 when the playoffs started that I did bet, and that's never coming back. But like 40-45 is really close to what these places had him at before game one. And I still like the Rangers, and they just won a road game in what might be a tougher series than the next series that they're going to play, which is also kind of interesting. Sure. And the Maple Leafs lost, which I also think is kind of good. So just food for thought.
Before we bring Bill in, I'm just going to leave you with two closing thoughts because obviously I watch a ton of Rangers hockey. Last time the Rangers won a cup, it was their version of Adam Fox, Brian Leetch, who won the Conn Smythe Trophy. Not Mike Richter, not Mark Messier. If it makes you feel any better, like that kind of trajectory in this organization. Number two, if the Rangers are going to win a cup, their power play is going to have to be clicking along. Kreider last night there. And if you go look at the Rangers power play goals all throughout the year, there's a high percentage total that Adam Fox has an assist on almost all of them. So there you go. That also helps you out as well.
You're in on this.
I'm in. You've sold me, Ken.
You gotta bet it. You gotta bet. Like, I know you're a Rangers fan. I don't know if you've been betting a lot of Rangers, but like you gotta bet this. This gotta be a show.
Yeah. Ken, I'm in. Yeah. Me, you, Big Bang Theory sucks. Adam Fox, Conn Smythe. We've got a real partnership here. At this point, fire Costos. I'm in. All right, let's go. I'm just kidding. Clearly.